Hello, Nigerians. It is with a devastating heart we receive this extremely unpleasant news coming from Jigawa State. At least 105 people have been confirmed dead, while over 50 have been severely injured following a petrol tanker explosion in Majiya town in Taura local government area of Jigawa State. It was said that the tanker was heading from Kano to Nguru town in Yobe State when the driver lost control of the vehicle and it fell to the ground. Afterwards, people clustered around and started scooping petrol, and just in the next moment, they were in flames. Human beings became ashes. But before I proceed further, take a look at the reaction of the Senate towards this distressing incident.
That we do observe a minute silence in honor of those who fell victims of this inferno in Jigawa. Those in support of the additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So let me thank the Distinguished Senator Babangida for bringing this to the fore and pray that God will grant solace to the families of those who lost their loved ones, and then, of course, agenda fidel to those who have departed. And I want to also pray that those in hospitals will also survive. However, I think we should also call on the state government to take proactive steps to save more lives. But may we rise for 1 minute silence. May the souls of our brothers and sisters who died in the tanker explosion in Majiya, Taura, local government of Jgawa State, rest in perfect peace. Sergeant at Arms, please take steps to move out that food.
Very sad indeed. A minute of silence for the departed. How long can we continue to dwell with minutes of silence for incidents which could have been avoided? On the first thought, one would blame the people who gathered to collect petrol. This kind of incident is not the first and will not be the last. One would tag them careless or foolish or insensitive to their safety. The victims may be culpable. However, on second thoughts, the underlying motivation behind this careless action is just frustration. On October 10, the world celebrated World Mental Health Day, where experts estimated that over 50 million Nigerians were suffering different forms of mental health at different points in their lives. Now, I can assure you that the real number of persons with mental health issues may quite be much more than this estimate, and the reason is simple. Nigeria is already drowned in the sea of misery and anguish, and these are the triggers of careless actions like this. When economic hardship strikes, it brings with it a crippling sense of uncertainty. The constant struggle to make ends meet, coupled with feelings of insecurity, takes a devastating toll on mental health well-being. Chronic stress and anxiety become unwelcome companions, and these in turn worsen fears about the future. As hopelessness sets in, desperation takes hold. Rational decision-making gives way to survival instinct, where risks are taken without a second thought. Then the action of scooping fuel from a fallen tanker, despite the dangers, becomes irresistible. But Nigerians are not only the careless ones here. Our political leaders whose actions and utterances ought to be uniting Nigerians and dousing their fears are unfortunately as careless or even much more careless with words and actions. Now, you have seen the Senate President, Akpabio, ask lawmakers to observe a minute silence for the victims. But I tell you, the Senate President may have indirectly caused this with his words. It is sad, and we hate to admit this reality, that the Senate president, since he got his office, has been uttering mindless words in reference to Nigerians. Now, before I explain the connection between what he said lately and the Jgawa incident, let me show you a few examples of mindless utterances of his in the past. During the protest against bad governance, the senator that said that protests against a high cost of living were sponsored. Listen to him.
You can see a lot of sponsored protests here and there, but those people are not aware. Most of those sponsored protests are not aware of the kind of efforts being made by this Senate to tackle the situation, together with the joint management team of the federal government of Nigeria.
Very sad indeed. The senator was implicitly saying that Nigerians were not hungry, that Nigerians had no reasons to stage popular demonstrations without being sponsored by a political party. What the senator surprisingly never believed was that hunger and insecurity were the real sponsors of protest, and these conditions could trigger a riot or a revolt. All right, in a different scenario, before the protest kicked off, Senator Akpabio visited the people of the South in a game of divide and rule. While holding a conversation with them regarding the protest, the senator scornfully said that he and the others would be enjoying their food, eating, while Nigerians would be protesting. Listen to him.
MD, I want to thank you for what you said. You said, we are not interested in regime change. Let us own this government. Those who want to protest can protest, but let us be there eating. Am I right? I must thank Niger Delta.
Very sad indeed. Senator Akpabio has been using mindless words against poor Nigerians, so much so that at a point, one chieftain of the Labour Party, Patu Tome, was furious and warned him to shut up if he had nothing to say. Take a look.
People should shut up. I'm saying it again. Somebody should tell Godswill Akpabio to shut up. He should not talk anymore. If he doesn't know what to say, he should shut up. Politicians can't use every policy to want to make their bottom lines. And those who provide leadership must eat a humble pie. Politicians must behave themselves. They have acted irresponsibly as far as the future of Nigeria is concerned. The politicians are the mess that Nigeria is suffering. Right. We've got to make them realize that. Get out of those funny Mercedes-Benzes and SUVs you are buying. By golly, go around in some small car. You don't deserve it. And let's use the resources of this country to ratchet up production and get the people of Nigeria able to feed themselves and make progress.
That was funny, but really serious. Now let me tell you how Senator Akpabio's words might have indirectly caused the Jigawa tanker explosion. 2 days ago, at the Senate session, Senator Akpabio asked lawmakers to prepare for dinner, which they were to have on that day. On mentioning that, he urged the senators and by extension Nigerians to seek and accept free food anywhere they found one. Take a listen.
Times are difficult, and wherever you see free food, please endeavor to avail yourself.
Now, just in less than 2 days after Senator Akpabio said this, look what has happened in Jigawa State. Akpabio's free food was a metaphor for any kind of asset or value one could access without being arrested. So, when the tanker fell and spilled its content, it was more or less a free asset to be accessed by Nigerians. Now, the implication of this is enormous. You ask yourself, what drives people to take such a risk? Years of poor governance have left Nigerians struggling. Skyrocketing petrol prices have made life unbearable. People can't afford basic needs like food, electricity, and security. That's why desperation takes over. When a tanker falls, people see an opportunity to get free fuel. No matter the danger, they think only of survival. Nigerians' governance failure has created a deadly environment. People's basic needs have become a game of chance. Now, I won't talk about the prevention of danger because our country does not have an emergency prevention network at all. But what about response management? No, Nigerians has a very poor emergency response framework. That's why you have high death toll when there is a fire explosion. That's why many die when a building collapses. That's why victims are marooned in kidnappers' den for weeks and even months, pay huge sums before they secure freedom. And now I tell our politicians that until they start adopting a mind frame of sacrifice and submission to the needs of the people and shun half-hearted service, they will remain in the Nigerians' bad books. May God bless Nigeria.